Queridísima Cambria, onte enterramos o Manolo de Almorfe. Camiñamos perdidos pola estrada ata dar co tanatorio, a antiga escola da Taraza, a 1 kilómetro da Carballeira. Éramos poucos, os curmáns de papá, os que quedan vivos, algúns veciños e os descendentes da miña xeración. Mamá e a tía Anita contábanse entre os máis xoves. Teñen, como sabes, 80 e 79 anos. Subimos en festa costa ata a igrexa parroquial. Os curmáns franceses e a maioría dos da miña idade non entraron para a ceremonia debido ás súas ideas de esquerda. Si o fixemos Néstor, os curmáns alemáns e máis eu, para non deixar desamparados os anciáns que nos precedían. A igrexa estaba fría e húmida, como corresponde. O retablo evocaba en dourado e azul a heráldica da brega do deserto, o rito insoportable. Ante o noso asombro, o Manolo foi soterrado directamente na terra, a moi escasa profundidade. En francés, alguén preguntou se en Galicia non había cemiterios civís, e rapidamente en catalán, en alemán, en galego, pasamos a un intercambio sobre os diferentes xeitos de darlle terra aos defuntos nos respectivos países de procedencia. Sabíamos que este era o noso último pasamento e que, por tanto, tardaríamos en xuntarnos ou quizáis nunca máis sabíamos estar todos nosoutros xuntos. Alguén lembrou como o avó vendera o panteón, pero ningún dos maiores quiso dar resposta ao interrogante desa venta insólita. Falouse, para a ledicia dunha das máis pequenas de nós que non era sabedora, da fidelidade á República do avó de Almorfe e de como fora perseguido nos anos máis duros do fascismo polas súas conviccións e polos seus actos. E así se suceden os corpos, así se dispersan as xeracións.
Ottawa. Dearest Chus, the only funeral I ever attended on my father's side was my Uncle Dick's in Canada's capital. My mother was visiting me in Montreal, upset I had no sauerkraut in my fridge and worried I'd published poems that indicated I was lesbian, and then her neighbors in Calgary would find out. It was 1985 or 1986, years before she left my father. My father flew out, and we drove in a rental car to Ottawa, and there was no one in the funeral home with a flask to offer drinks to the assembled Maoris, because that was what his brother Dick always did. Plus he'd laugh at my father, his brother, until even my father was laughing and not mad, and my father was usually mad if you laughed at him, unless he started it. Dick's back had ached for weeks from pushing the lawnmower. Then one night he fell out of bed and his son heard and went upstairs to his father, who said just one word, sick, then died. Years later, when Dick's wife died, my cousins sold the Willard Avenue house and gave my father the folds of paper. They were his as the last moray of his generation. The papers were the infantry discharge of his great-grandfather, his great-grandfather's marriage certificate and citations for valor in the Peninsular War, his grandfather's birth certificate, letters of passage and recommendation from his grandfather's employers in Lisboa, Paris, London. Crimped small, they constitute our one inheritance from Galicia, proof that the man who left was legitimate in the eyes of God and state of Spain. Had my cousins thrown the papers away, which would not have been unreasonable, I'd never have heard Galician, or learned to dream in it. Or translated, dearest Chus, your poems.